Hey guys! One of the most common reasons for getting blocked while web scraping is using bad user agents. However, integrating fake user agents into your Python web scrapers is very easy. Here's a look at what we will be going over in today's tutorial. What are fake user agents? How to set fake user agents in Python requests and Python requests sessions. How to rotate user agents. How to manage thousands of fake user agents, and then why you might want to use fake browser headers, and how to use ScrapeOps Fake Browser Headers API. First, let's quickly go over some of the very basics. What are fake user agents? User agents are strings that let the website that you're scraping identify things like your application, your operating system, your browser, etc. They are sent to the server as part of the request headers. When scraping a website, you also need to set user agents on every request, as otherwise the website might block your requests because it knows you aren't a real user. In the case of most Python HTTP clients, like Python requests, when you send a request, the default settings clearly identify that the request is being made with Python requests in the user agent string. This user agent will clearly identify that your requests are being made using Python, so the website can easily block you from scraping the site. That is why we need to manage the user agents that we use when we send requests with Python. How to set a fake user agent in Python requests. Setting Python requests to use a fake user agent is very easy. We just need to define it in a headers dictionary and add it to the request using the headers parameter. How to set a fake user agent in Python requests sessions. When using Python requests sessions functionality, we just need to define headers on the session instance. Feel free to check out the request documentation to learn more about using custom headers. Jumping back to VS Code, we are going to make a request and print out the response, which is simply the value of the request header. We can see that the user agent matches the one we defined in our headers variable in the code. Next, we will look at how to rotate user agents. Rotating through user agents is also pretty straightforward when using Python requests. We just need a list of user agents in our scraper, and we can use a random one with each request. If we jump back over to our code, we can define a list of user agents and choose one at random and then add it to our header variable. Then if we run this code, we can see that the user agent in the header we sent was the third one in the list. This works, but it has drawbacks, as we would need to build and keep an up-to-date list of user agents ourselves. How do we manage thousands of fake user agents? A better approach than manually maintaining a list of user agents would be to use a free user agent API like ScrapeOps Fake User Agent API. This would allow us to download an up-to-date user agent list whenever our scraper starts up. Then we can pick a random user agent for each request. You can check out the ScrapeOps API documentation to learn more about how to use it. Also, to get started with the ScrapeOps API, you can actually sign up for a free account and get an API key right away. Let's look at a few examples. First, to use the ScrapeOps Fake User Agents API, you just need to send a request to the API endpoint to retrieve a list of user agents. To integrate the Fake User Agent API, you should configure your scraper to retrieve a batch of the most up-to-date user agents when the scraper starts, and then configure your scraper to pick a random user agent from this list for each request. Here is an example of that using Python requests. First, we have a function to get the user agent list using the API, and another function to get a random user agent from that list. We will loop through a few pages of quotes2scrape.com. This is a simple site that's easy to scrape. And then we can see that we have a bunch of output that looks like the HTML we scraped from those pages. If I change our output a little bit and just print out the URL, the header, and the HTTP status of the request, we can see that we sent a different header with each request, which is exactly what we wanted. Next, let's look at why we want to use fake browser headers. For simple websites, simply getting an up-to-date user agent should allow you to scrape a website pretty reliably. However, a lot of popular websites are increasingly using sophisticated anti-bot technologies to try and prevent developers from scraping data from their websites. These anti-bot solutions not only look at your user agent header value when analyzing the request, but they also check other header values that a real browser normally sends. By using a full set of browser headers, you make your requests look more like real user requests, and as a result, they will be harder to detect. So to improve the reliability of our scrapers, we should also include these headers when making requests. You could build a list of fake browser headers yourself, or you could use the ScrapeOps Fake Browser Headers API to get an up-to-date list every time your scraper starts up. Let's take a look at the ScrapeOps Fake Browser Headers API. The ScrapeOps Fake Browser Headers API is another free API that returns a list of optimized fake browser headers that you can use in your web scrapers to avoid blocks, bans, and improve the reliability of your scrapers. To use the ScrapeOps Fake Browser Headers API, you can use the same API key that you used earlier with the User Agent API. To integrate the Fake Browser Headers API, you should configure your scraper to retrieve a batch of the most up-to-date headers when the scraper starts, and then configure your scraper to pick a random header from this list for each request. In this code, I am just updating the functions from our previous code, and running this code again, we can see that we have successfully scraped the HTML from the Quotes2Scrape web pages. You can learn more about the Fake Browser Header API in the ScrapeOps API documentation. So that wraps up how you can use fake user agents and fake browser headers with Python requests using ScrapeOps APIs. Thank you so much for watching, and if you liked this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure you check out the ScrapeOps YouTube channel, and if you would like to learn more about web scraping, then be sure to check out the Python web scraping playbook at scrapeops.io.